Today we're going to be reviewing the 2018 Focus SE hatchback. It's a loaner while I'm waiting for my Focus RS to get fixed, so I figured I'd throw together a quick review. Alright, so first impression, it's not a bad looking car. They went with the newer grills, obviously. This is the 2018. I don't like the headlights on this. It doesn't have fog lamps. They could have put, this is something you don't get in the SE that you get in the SEL, is these are fog lamps in the SEL. And again, I get that we're talking different trim packages and everything, but it does not look nice having those just filled in like that. The wheels aren't bad. They are alloy wheels. They're not like the plastic hubcaps, so that's kind of nice, but they're a little boring. They don't look great, but they're not bad. They look a little bit sporty. They still have the blinkers in the mirrors, which I kind of like. It's becoming more standard now, but I heard they're thinking of taking that back out. But yeah, it's not an awful looking car. I was gonna clean it up today, but I didn't get time. And then the trunk isn't too bad either. You actually have a pretty good amount of space in here. I really like that this dips down here. I don't know if you can see that good in the light, but it keeps stuff from sliding around. This does have the winter package, so they give you these really cheap floor mats that I am not at all a fan of. Otherwise, it's got these annoying the little felt pad thing with the really cheap tethers on here, and these get ripped to shreds pretty fast if you're not careful. So not a wonderful design. It does have the tan roof on the inside, which isn't terrible, but it's okay. Another thing, yeah, so the trunk didn't close all the way there, which I didn't slam it, but also you have to give it a pretty good close on it. This is from Freeway Ford. I think their sticker on this is right around 18.2 with the winter package. It's got the heated seats and heated steering wheel, but one thing I really don't like is that these cameras, you can kind of see it right here, the cameras on these things get insanely dirty, and I actually have to remember to wipe that off all the time. Otherwise you really can't see. It gets so salted in the wintertime, so that's a big complaint. The VWs have it underneath the emblem and it flips up when you put it in reverse. I do like the extra space with the hatch. Back seat is relatively spacious. The seats are pretty comfortable. It's kind of a cheap interior all said and done, but it doesn't look bad. It's about what you expect to get for that $18,000 price range. But it's not terrible. Handles are pretty nice. Everything's pretty simple. Yeah, and it does have the little blind spot mirrors. A lot of people complain about them, but as a Ford owner, I really like them, and I'm starting to get used to them. And this does also have the heated mirrors as part of the heated or the winter package, which if you're in Minnesota like we are, it's pretty essential. Climbing in here real quick, first thing you'll notice is that the dash and all the buttons, it's not Ford Sync 3, and that's surprising even on an SE. Being more of a base model car. This little tiny screen does not show you much in reverse. It's a pretty small screen. You still have the backup camera, but it's not even close to Sync 3. I think Sync 3 really fills up this whole space here, and it's what my wife has on her 2017 Focus SEL. Not a hatchback, but hers has the winter package, and it's a lot more pleasant of a display. Not a fan of the buttons. Everything feels pretty cheap. Doesn't seem like it's going to last very long. It does have the updated AC controls and everything, which is kind of nice, but also, I don't know, very simple. It's about what you expect. It's a base model car. Steering wheel is the same as all of them. They didn't really change anything on the 18s for this. And it's pleasant enough. I mean, these little grips are a little annoying depending on how your hand, fits on the steering wheel. But they're okay. You get used to them really fast, but it will kind of cramp up your hand after a long time. But that's more of an opinion thing. It's definitely not bad. One complaint I've had with this, I don't know if it's because I drive a manual as a daily, but almost every time that I go to put it into drive, I end up in low. And yeah, it's not very fun because I'm always winding the car out of the driveway, and then I realize when I'm halfway to the stop sign that I'm in low and not in drive. So mirror is dead simple, nothing to it. Doesn't have auto tinting. Some of them, like my wife's car and mine, have the little sunglasses holder here, and I don't know why they didn't just throw it in, but they didn't. The mirror, one cool little thing on these, and I think it's pretty standard now, but it actually slides over, which I appreciate, and it's a lot nicer when you're trying to driving, you can't get your visor in the right position. And I noticed the other day that I really actually like that quite a bit. Headrests are super simple. The seats they're okay. I don't really get this pattern a whole lot. I don't know what they were trying to go for. It's kind of boring and kind of weird, but it's definitely a Ford thing. And again, it's got like the two-tone, the black on the doors, and then the tan ceiling or tan roof line or whatever. Displays are exactly what you'd expect. It does have the digital displays. It's got your RPM gauge, your speedometer and everything. And I like having a digital speedometer in the middle there. That's usually what I leave it on, and it gets pretty good gas mileage. I'm getting about 32 with how I drive, and that's not terrible, all things considered. The little 12-volt plug-in and then the USB, and I believe that does sync into your car. But I like to Bluetooth everything, and this does not slide forward and back, and it's not keyless entry, so it's good old, or using a key. Glove box is tiny and pretty useless. I mean, you can throw your little stuff in there, but a lot of other cars have had much larger glove boxes, which I wish this one was bigger. Floor mats, again, are super cheap. To be totally honest, go buy some WeatherTechs, especially if you're in Minnesota. These don't really, look how much dirt is right on the front, the sides of that thing. If you get some WeatherTechs, they'll cover everything up in there a lot better. They're about $120 for just the front set, which realistically most people aren't taking everyone around. If you are, you can get the rear ones as well for a little more. It's not terrible, but for 17 and a half, we're looking at paying maybe $1,000 more for an SEL and getting Ford Sync 3 for sure, instead of getting all this really basic stuff. It's about as simple as it gets for a Ford Focus in 2018. You get the hatchback, but it is a very simplistic car and not super exciting.